No, no, no. That was so good, and it makes complete sense because believe it or not, as I speak to leaders, no one decided they were going to do this from jump.
Right.
They got
Exactly.
into it because life happened some way or somehow, right? I would always go back to this judge. He was one that kind of stands out where he's like, I was tired of seeing these young kids in my courtroom, and I
Mm,
realized that I had to walk away from being a judge and
mm,
go backwards to
mm.
start working with these kids, one on one. So they're not in the courtrooms. And
Yep.
I was like, wow, that's how you just know, right? That you found your purpose, you found passion. And not everyone finds it at 20 or 30. So,
Right.
yeah, life sometimes you got to kind of experience it. Tragedies sometimes make us realize, wait a
Sure.
minute, I need to kind of keep this legacy going. How do I get involved? But I love one of the things you said is just start volunteering.
Yeah.
Just start with a day,
Yeah.
because in the nonprofit space, especially, they're always looking for volunteers. So if
Yep.
you could just start with one day, find something that you love, I can use Google and research a nonprofit and something that you truly are passionate about. I can imagine there's probably one in your area,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So no,
Exactly.
you
Test it.
definitely, it
Test it
wasn't all
out.
over the place.
Test it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good stuff. What's one marketing challenge you think you face when you tell students, and I can imagine this happens all the time, mental health matters, and they say, yeah, we've heard that before.
Yeah, I think, because there's a vast amount of information available to young people these days, I think really it's the trying to understand from them, like, what is your value add? Like, yes, mental health matters. And what are you all doing that's like different or significant or could support the things that are most important to me? And I think what's beautiful about the programs at Active Minds is that we can help a young person figure out, well, what is the thing that's most important to you? Like, if you know that mental health matters and you're seeing this issue on your campus or in your community, let's figure out how we can address that and support you in addressing that in your
Mhm.
space. So I think what I guess the differentiator there is this like student led piece of like understanding what's most meaningful to
Okay.
them around mental health and supporting them with being able to act on that.
Brandy, this organization, is it chapters? Is that what it is? Different chapters throughout the country, or is it a specific location? What does that actually look like when you
Yeah.
guys talk about being in these spaces?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we have our national chapter network, which is we have 500 plus chapters at high schools and colleges across the country, so in a lot of
Mhm.
different states. But that's just one of our programs. So the chapters really are like peer led, youth and young adult led clubs that are taking action for mental health on their campuses and in their communities. And they can decide, like, again, like I was saying before, what actions are most important, what is needed in their communities. We also have other programs. We have Sin Silence Packing, which is our national tour around mental health and trying to get
Mhm.
young people to mobilize for mental health. So we go and visit different college campuses and engage them in actions of things that they can do to improve mental health in their community. We have a speakers bureau. We have programs for individuals who want to create mental health campaigns in their campuses and their communities. So our chapter network is, where we started, and over the past 20 plus years have expanded to other different kinds of programming. Again, listening to what's most important to youth and young adults.
Love that. And when we're talking about the digital age, things are changing so much, innovation's happening.
Yeah.
What's that one digital strategy that you found effective for actually normalizing mental health conversations? So I think, ChatGPT, everyone's kind of using that, but I can imagine there's a lot of different things that are actually very helpful because still ChatGPT is not where we would love it to be, especially on mental health.
For sure. Yeah. So we have one of the biggest things that we launched just a few years ago is called Ask, which stands for Acknowledge, Support, and Keep in Touch. And essentially, it's an interactive YouTube experience that anyone has access to. It's free. You can go to YouTube. And we develop it in partnership with MTV Paramount. And
Oh,
basically, it's a 10-minute digital experience, very interactive, where it's a simulation of like two people having a dialogue around a challenging situation. So we call it the stop, drop, what is, sorry, stop, drop, and roll. That's what it is for emotional support. So in 10 minutes, a young person or anyone really could learn, how do I engage in these kinds of conversations with my peers that are supportive and can help them deal with some of the everyday situations. So that's, one sort of example of how we're recognizing that people live in digital spaces now. So how can we continue to innovate to meet folks where they're at?
I love that. And there's so much to really kind of talk about in this space as well, because I think we have to figure out in the space of mental health, how do we measure that? So what metrics matter for when you're measuring mission success and not just the dollars that are being raised? Because I think the dollars, yeah, it's great, but in reality, the mission is what matters more.
Absolutely. And this is something, that we are really focused on. We have a measurement team at Active Minds. And so I think what I've seen from like personally working at other nonprofits, like the first step, you're really trying to understand like who are we reaching? Like what are the numbers of people that we're reaching with all of our different programs, et cetera. The step that usually comes after that is like, okay, what is the change that they're experiencing? And so in alignment with our strategic plan, our newest strategic plan that we've developed in the past few years, all of our programs are really becoming very clear on like what is the change that we're measuring. And so, not into all the nonprofit slash corporate measurement speech, but we have key performance indicators that we'll be measuring against just to make sure that our programs are doing what we say they are going to do.
I love that. And in your early nonprofit days, what was the biggest lesson you learned about mission? You've been in this space for a very long time, and maybe also talk about sustainability as well.
Yeah. I think in my early nonprofit days, probably the biggest lesson is that mission creep happens so easily, and you don't necessarily notice it at first, but then you start delving into all these different things that are maybe slightly or tangentially related to the original mission, but that can really burn out staff, right? And so I think, it's important for nonprofits to be very clear on their mission and focus on like, this is what we're going to do. And all those sort of tangential things that may come our way, like feeling confident and comfortable with saying no, because we're really focused on trying to move the needle on this specific mission. I think there was another part of your question, but I can't recall.
It was just talking about the biggest lessons about you learn about mission and sustainability is
Okay.
pretty much being in space for some time. So I
Yeah.
think you definitely covered both of them.
Okay.
You must love the work. You've been doing it for so long, though.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm here.
it's. Can you see yourself doing anything else